This happened about 10 years ago. My family's from Alabama, so you can kind of say that we're country. My mother really loved hunting, so we decided to go hunting a couple months after May for Mother's Day, so around August or September. My dad didn't really like hunting because he loved the animals so much and couldn't dare to hurt them. So only me, my mom, my brother Charlie, and my Aunt Jamie went. The day started off weird because as we were leaving, my mom said bye to my dad. And someone says bye, but it wasn't in my dad's voice. It was like an older lady's voice. We went in the house to look, and my dad was in the shower, all the way upstairs. So it was impossible for him to say bye back. After all that happens, we finally decided to leave. My mom is really quiet in the car, and I ask her, "Are you okay, Mom?" And she says, "That sounded just like my mom." And the car became silent. My grandma passed away 6 years ago before we went. My mom didn't like her mom, neither did none of us, because she was abused by her mom constantly, which really damaged my mom mentally and physically. My mom starts to cry, saying she doesn't want to go anymore, but we convinced her to go so we can get her mind off of it. We finally arrived at the place to go hunting. My mom just starts to get happy. We start making our way in the woods until my mom says she forgot her gun, so she goes back alone, while me, my brother, and my aunt wait for her. My mom gets to the car and she can't find her gun, so she starts worrying that she left it at home or something. She turns around and she sees her gun on the ground behind her. She started to get scared because where she saw the gun, she walked past there and she would have seen it coming up. My mom just starts saying to herself, "I'm not crazy, I'm not crazy, I'm not crazy." That gun was not there. It just wasn't there. She grabbed her gun and ran back to us, but she didn't want to tell us what happened at first. But we all understood. We finally started hunting. Me and my brother were in a group, and my mom and aunt were together. Out of nowhere, me and Charlie heard a loud scream. It was my mom's voice. We started rushing there as quick as we could. We all got there saying, "What's wrong? What's going on?" She says, "This is my mom's gun." This is not my story, but my mom's story. Her mom, so my grandmother, was abducted on the day before Mother's Day. My grandmother was 10 years old when she was abducted. Now this is how it all started. My grandma was just getting out of school, and this random guy, about 6 feet tall, grabs her, saying he's her dad. But the thing is, she never knew what her dad looked like because her mom was a single mom. So my grandma went with him without putting up a fight because she thought that was her dad. The strange man takes her to his house and he immediately feeds her with cookies and milk. Meanwhile, back home, her mom is waiting for her to get home and she starts to worry, so she calls the police. She tells the police that she's missing. She says it's a little girl that's 10 years old and she has brown hair with freckles and she wears glasses. Back then, there was no 911 number. They all had to call their local police station, so she realized it's going to be even harder to find her daughter. Back to my grandma and the strange man. The strange man starts to ask her questions like, "How's school? How's your grades? How's your friends?" Just weird questions. The last question he asks her is the most creepiest. He says, "I'm sorry I missed your birthday 2 weeks ago." And the crazy thing is, my grandmother's birthday was 2 weeks ago. My grandma starts to ask the strange man questions like, "Who are you? Where'd you go to school? How's your friends? Where do you work? The strange man only answered with one reply. He said, I don't have any friends. Then the strange man says, You are my friend, right? Soon as he says that, my grandma starts to say, I want to go home to mommy. And the strange man says nothing but, okay. At this point, her mom is going crazy, going to all her family members' houses and also our friends' houses. And she finally got some luck. One of her mom's close friends says, I can ask Frank, which was her neighbor. Frank was a very antisocial man because his wife died, so he had to take care of the kids by himself. So they were surprised if he said anything. But Frank's daughter went to the same school as my grandma. They're around the same age and they both had class together. They asked Frank, Have you seen Louise? He says, No. But then her mom says she had on a pink hair tie, and he finally realizes and says, Yes, I saw her get in the car with this man that was about 6 feet tall with black hair. But before she can even go anywhere, this car pulls up with this strange man and my grandma. Her mom screamed because she knew exactly who it was. It was a guy who stalked her in high school. So a while back, my mom lived in this house on Brimley Mountain. The landlord to the place was super anal about making sure they did no remodeling or repairs. He wanted nothing changed. It was odd to say the least. After a while, my mom and her boyfriend started saying they think the place was haunted by the ghost of a small girl. They said sometimes they would see the shadow of a girl walk room to room, or hear playing in the back when nobody was back there. And sometimes it sounded like a small child was sobbing and couldn't tell where from. Me being an atheist at the time, I kinda blew it off. I was like, yeah, right, ha ha ha. So anyway, this was towards the end of me and my ex's relationship. When we split up, I started living with my mom until I got on my feet. We shared custody of our daughter Alexis 50-50. So 1 week, she'd stay with me until Friday, and then she'd go to my ex's until the following Friday. And then she'd come back with me. She was about 2 going on 3 at the time. It was a Saturday night, and I was on the computer. It's probably like 2 in the morning, and I'm just surfacing through music. The computer desk was in the kitchen, facing a wall, and on that same wall was a doorway that led to the den and the bedrooms. So if anyone came out of the bed to get something from the kitchen, then they would walk right past me. Alexis was always getting up in the night and getting into trouble. She'd raid the fridge or knock something over while climbing up on something. She liked to get up in the night and raid the kitchen because she knew everyone was asleep and she could get away with it. So as I said before, this night I happened to be at 2 a.m. on the computer. I see Alexis sneak into the kitchen with peripheral vision, and she froze when she saw me and just stood there. I didn't look at her or pay her attention. I figured she had seen me. She knows she's caught. Hopefully, she'll go back to bed and go to sleep without having to make a big deal. So she stands there for about 3 minutes, and I can see her the whole time, but I make a point to not look at her, so she will just go back to bed. She eventually turns and walks back towards the bedroom. It was dark in the room, but I could still see her turn and leave. Everything was dead silent after that. So after about 15 minutes, I got that feeling in my gut that I need to check on her because she's probably up to no good. In 15 minutes, I should have heard her climb back in bed or rustle through toys. Hearing absolutely nothing normally meant she was trying to be quiet for a reason. Every parent get that sick feeling in their stomach when their kid is up to no good. And I got that feeling, so I got up to check on her. I stood up and walked into the next room that led to the bedrooms. And it was pitch black. Couldn't see a thing. And that's when it hit me. Alexis was with my ex that night, not with me. I had been used to her being there all week, that it just slipped my mind. So the girl I saw wasn't her.